Take your bolts, put them into box number 1. Well, when you order your batteries, you're going to have 16 in total. You open the box. In each box you will have 4 cells. Okay, so this is one of the cells and they are very heavy. So the first cell you're going to want to install, if you're looking from the bottom of the case up, you want the positive to be out this side here. So the positive should be on the left hand side, like so. Before pressing the cell into place, you're going to want to get one of these pads and just set it in behind it. Slide it into place there. The next cell you take out, just install it there in beside it. And again, you're going to want one of these little pads down the back of it. Before you get too far along, you can put your little divider in here. So this is the last of the yellow sections. So you don't stick this one on either side, this one separates all of the cells. So as you can see, this one here, so on the bottom left it's going to be a positive, and then obviously on the other side you have negative, and then the cell beside it is going to be positive terminal and negative terminal. Then you're going to get more pads like so, slide them in between each one. Take another cell out and make sure that as you're putting them in, you have grey to black or negative to positive. You don't want positives all the way up this side, negatives all the way up this side. A positive always has to be facing the negative, or you'll have problems. There we go. We already have 4 out of 16 cells installed. Now that all the cells are installed, I'll be able to put the compression plate with the active balancer back in place. Now, one thing I will say about the cells, it is important that you get the right kit for the right cells. You have A and B grade batteries, so you need to get the correct kit for A or B. A grade batteries, in my opinion, aren't necessary for solar battery storage. A grade batteries are more applicable for like EVs and the likes of that. If you're building a go-kart, an electric go-kart, A grade batteries are basically what you want. The B grade batteries are absolutely fine for storage. They just tend to be a little bit more bloated, so as a result of that, there's typically more space between the contacts here, so you need a slightly different size buzz bar for your grade B battery. So grade B batteries all the way, but make sure you get the right kit for what you're ordering. There are also different types of heads on these prismatic cells, so make sure you're ordering the correct cells for the correct kit. Ask Fogstar for any advice along the way. They'll be happy to help you, or just buy the full kit from them and they'll send you exactly what you need. Just a slightly better angle now so you can see these bolts going into place. Remember, these are the largest bolts that come with the kit. Now it's just time to tighten these larger bolts up, so we'll get the compression plate nice and tight, and what we'll do is we'll just tighten the first bolts until it's slightly snug, then you move your way down almost like you're putting on a car wheel. Don't tighten the first bolt and lock it in place, do them one by one, side by side. In fact, try to do a crisscross pattern, if you can imagine that. Now you can probably check all of the cell voltages before even installing them, but my experience with the cells so far has been that they've all been pretty damn close. So I've already worked my way down here and I'm getting 3.291 volts. So I'm expecting 3.29 volts. If I get 3.291, that's fine. If I get 3.289, that's fine as well. As long as they're pretty close to each other, I'm happy there. So that's 3.91, 3.91, perfect there. And just check them all. It doesn't matter whether you're getting your positive or negative reading. You don't have to switch positive and negative the whole time. You'll either have a negative or a positive reading, and as long as that reading is 3.289 in this case, so 3.29 is what you're looking for. 3.29 volts, 3.291, 3.289, 3.291, and so on. Perfect. Back again. Yep. All good. Once your cells are in place and they are compressed, you can then install the foam pads and put the PSA and PSB boards back into position. remember that you have a PSA and PSB board. So this is the PSB. This one is going to go closest to me, it's on the left hand side. I would advise against removing this board from the steel bracket. If you bend any of these, you could damage some of the connections, so you don't want to do that. The connectors always go to the top end, keep that in mind. So the PSB and the PSA sections will always be on the bottom part of the battery with these connectors up on the top. So I'm just going to set down PSB here. You'll also note that PSA has the black connector. Just lining up the holes here with the slots. And I have number 4 written there. So that means I will take my number 4 box. And I can start putting these back in. One little mistake you can make, you need to watch out for when you're actually putting in the yellow insulation. Make sure that it's well down, because if it's coming up too high, it might cause a problem for putting these back on. Nice and snug. Here we go. With the PSA and B boards secured into position, you can begin to lay your buzz bars into place. Now, you could put your buzz bars on first, but it doesn't really matter which step you take. I prefer to put the PSA and B on first, and then go ahead and install the buzz bars. So this is what I call the bridging buzz bar. It's the smaller one. It's coded LSST, it's L3. So I like to just kind of leave that aside for now, just out of the way, and then I'll install the rest of these. So of course, we're going to just start with the ones closest to us. Get all of this wrapping off. Now, if at this stage you try to put a buzz bar on and it just will not fit, it's probably because you've got the wrong kit. So let's see, I'm going to start from here. So this is actually cell number 9. The way you work it is from the top right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, across to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You can label each of the cells if you want, but it's not necessary at all. So I'm just going to start installing these, and they might be a little tight getting them on, but that doesn't matter at all. As long as they can fit, no problem at all. Okay, now this bridge bar will go on these bottom cells. So simple way of working this out. If you have this bridge bar here, you know you're not going to connect cells 9 and 10. You're going to connect cells 10 and 11. So you're going to do that. can do the same directly across. These are going to be a match. So that's 6 and 7 connecting to each other. And we have 10, 11. We have 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then we're just going to match them up with the cells on the right hand side. Okay, now, so we have all of our cells connected here. We're not going to do anything here. These will be connected by the longer bus bars, which are going to connect to the BMS and basically the battery connectors. So we're going to move over here. This is going to be a mirror of the outside, so the bottom cells here. So cells 1 and 2 are going to connect. Cells 3 and 4 will connect. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. There we go. That's all of your bus bars in place, with the exception of the bridge, which you can put on now. There's no problem there. I normally just leave it off for now. And to complete that circuit, you would have to connect the positive from cell 16 to the negative of cell 1. So we're not going to complete that circuit. And just to be extra safe, that's why I leave this one off as well. Now that we have most of the cell bus bars in position, we can start to connect all of the balancing connectors and the NTCs. So let's just start here. We'll work our way all the way down from the right hand side, starting with B1. What I like to do is I like to look at the connector like a spoon. You have this is the right way up, and if I twist it, that's the wrong way up. So I want the spoon to be flat down. I want the ridge to be on the upper half, so we have a better connection. So I tend to kind of carefully bend the wires around and make sure they're on their flats and that the ridges are up. And then you just carefully sit the nut on. You don't have to tighten anything up, you're just going to get the nut into place. The ones you're not going to touch are the positive 16 and the negative 1. You're going to leave all those alone until the very end. Now, as I come down to the bridge between cells 8 and 9, I'm not going to connect those right now. I'm just going to leave them until I need to connect them. But there is one thing worth noting. All of the active balancing cells, or rather all of the active balancing cables will connect to positives, with 2 exceptions. The first cell here, you have B0 negative, which is basically cell 1, but they're calling it 0. That will connect to the negative terminal, cell 1. And oddly enough, this one is B8 negative. It does connect to cell 9 negative, but it says B8 negative. The simple way of thinking about this is all of these wires or little balancing cables will connect to the terminal closest to it, right? So generally speaking, they will all connect to the positives closest to them. But in this case, with cells 1 and cell 9, it will connect, you will have a connection to both the positive and the negative on each cell. Just be aware of that. So let's move on to cell number 9 positive. I'm now going to move on to the NTCs. So the NTCs, in the same way, they will connect to the closest negative. So in this case, right here, we're going to have one at cell number 16, cell number 16 negative. You have 2 of these per board. This one here, you just follow the direction. As you can see, it's already laid down. So this is NTC 3 here. And this one here is NTC 4. So NTC 3 will go to cell 11. Once again, you don't really need to know the cell number. You just know that it goes to the closest one. So onto NTC 2 here, and that's going to go to cell number 6. And then the final one, this will go onto cell 1. So we're not going to connect that now because we're going to leave that until last. So we've these 3 cables to connect onto cell 1, and then we have these 2 left to connect onto cell 16. And now I'm just going to put the bridging cable in place. And once this is in place, you want to be super careful that you don't have any cross connections here completing the circuit. I like to just finish off putting the nuts onto all the terminals. Okay, double checking that we have a nut on each of the connectors. Yes, we're looking good now. So I'm going to get my size 10. This is already insulated, so we're good to go. Make sure you don't drop this, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm just holding the little balance cables in place, and I'm just tightening these by hand, making sure that the buzz bar doesn't get distorted while I'm doing this. When I am finished tightening these, you are supposed to tighten them to 6 Newton meters. I personally find that the 6 Newton meters is excessive. So I tightened them, let's say, to what I feel comfortable with. I have a feel for every cell. My job is a mechanical engineer, and I normally trust my equipment and the measurements and what the recommendations are. But in this case, I find that 6 Newton meters is a little bit too much and can often strip the terminals. So be advised, it is recommended 6 Newton meters, but that's not what I do. Okay. All right, so all of these are now hand tight. And what I'm going to do now is just get them to a torque level where I feel comfortable. I don't know where that's going to be. You'll need a proper torque wrench anyway, one that's been calibrated if you're going to go with the 6 Newton meters. Or you can work out what is best yourself. So what I tend to do, and everybody has a different level of strength, I tend to just tighten. I only literally bringing myself down here 3 inches there or so. I'm not even touching the main handle, and that's all the leverage that I need. There you are. And I'm just using my thumb and 2 fingers, and I'm just tightening that down. And I can now see 2 of those threads sticking up. That's extremely tight there. I'm happy enough with that. And I'm going to do the same all the way around there. And you should not see these buzz bars distort. If you see these buzz bars starting to move and distort after you've hand tightened them, well then you're tightening them too much, in my opinion. They should not be distorting, they should not be bending, because you can shred them. Underneath these orange insulators, it basically just looks like ribbon cable. So they don't look this aluminium all the way through. It's like ribbon cable through here, and that's what makes them flexible and easy to move. So again, not even touching the main handle, and I'm not even giving it full force. Just bring this around here, and that's not going anywhere. Okay, that's all of the nuts tight. Now I'm just going to go over them one last time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Turn it so that it's upside down. You're just going to slot it through the hole here, and then slot it into position there. Get that back on there. And fingers crossed, there we are.